What is going on, All-Terrain Nation? Whether it be two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, or whatever badass vehicle you drive, this is your All-Terrain Nation. I'm your host, David Boyd, alongside co-host Mark over there with ATN Off-Road. And it's Sunday night. Where else you got to be, man? We're going to talk cars. We got a bunch of things to review. Mark, we haven't did a show, and I bring you into this kind of reformatted show. We do one, I think, and 20 days later, we're going to do number two. What's going on, buddy?
Life, travel, we went on a little adventure, had some life and whatnot, stuff going on. So, it is what it is, but it's, nice to be back. Nice to see everybody.
That's right. It is nice to be back. And, we're going to bring some of the other crew back in the next couple of shows. But yeah, you're right. We've been on some adventures, man. You got to do your first official press event, man. So that was kind of fun. Got to do the old Expo West with us.
Yeah, pretty cool, man. It was exciting to officially have, an official like press. I don't know. Was SEMA an official press thing? I mean, we went out to SEMA.
Oh, that's right. You did do that. That was seeing if you guys could handle it, kind of like
right.
You guys did.
The rest of the wolves at SEMA. Survived through all that absolute madness. And honestly, I mean, if you think about how packed we were inside the Overland Expo, I mean, it's very SEMA-ish and pretty sprawling. I mean, we weren't in 5 buildings, but that camp that we were at was huge, and they had a lot of vendors there.
That's right, they did. And I was very because I was going, and then we had softball kick in, and one of us had to be the good parent, stay here, and she chose to do that. And so I kind of was going to back out. And I think I talked to Steve P about it. I was like, yeah, we're just not going to get to be there. And kind of a bummer. And then you were like, no, you're going to go to this damn thing. And,
we had talked about
when I thought I was out, buddy, you pulled me back in.
That's it. You kind of had alluded to, you probably weren't going to go. And I think I messaged you. I'm like, look, this is a bucket list for you, man. Like, we got to get out there and do it at least once, just to show, that we're out and part of the community. Whether we make it out to another one or we do a different one to see the difference between that one in Flagstaff and everything else. Who knows? But yeah, man, I was glad that you rallied around it and came out. So, it was a good time.
And I think I just dropped the last video to this afternoon that we did from the event, which is kind of sad. That, I try to bucket list or bucket some of these things that we've done if we can. I may have enough footage for something else, but no, man, I was very happy. If you guys on either channel, ATN Off-Road, or here on this channel, you can see content from that. And the one that kind of the video that kicked it off for us was the trailers, the price of the trailers, man. That was, we found 5 of them, and from I hate to say affordable because none of them seem affordable, but we kind of started there and went on up.
The trail, and that's, I mean, when you think overlanding, you're thinking rooftop tents, or you're thinking campers, something that you can haul with regardless of what you're driving. And there was a Storyteller who drives that huge Earth Roamer camper, the big like 6x6 on like a 5-ton military chassis. That thing is $800,000. Like, I looked into that when we left out. So we were complaining about what 168 or whatever our top of the line, not even top of the line, just our expensive where we kind of bridged out. But I mean, you build out some of those big ones, even that huge truck that you and I looked at and walked around.
Yeah.
I mean, I bet you that's every bit of 200,000.
Oh, it had to be. And I'll try to, let me bring some of these up here while we're talking, I guess, about these vehicles. But yeah, no, the prices were freaking ridiculous. I knew they would be expensive, though. That's not, I mean, I've seen some of this stuff here locally. I know what they go for. So the prices of those didn't shock me. But I will say, for me, Mark, the trailers that we saw, the one was the last one I looked at and did a short on, it was $170,000. And I'm sorry, there's nothing $170,000 about any of that. Even the ones like we found out, we have a local company, a badass, what is it? BRS, yes. And I think by far they were the best quality that I've seen out of all of them. Australian guy in Tennessee.
In Tennessee, yeah, they started off in Australia. Had someone here locally that wanted to sell for them, be a distributor. Then said, "Hey, we can make them locally," and then they had great rebate here locally for the manufacturing and moved that over here. But you're right, like that particular camper for what? Because that was what 60s, mid 60s, and
yeah, somewhere in there, yeah.
For what they were getting and the build of it, the towability, the vehicles that could still pull that, and the overall. And I mean, we commented in the video on it. The build quality, that wind was whipping that day. I mean, everything was getting blown down. Mm-hmm. They still had that awning out, and it was rock solid. So, it's definitely worth the price. Is it in our price range? I don't know. But as far as what we saw and the quality and everything else, without going, I mean, my thing, it didn't have a ton of electronics, which I liked, because some of that stuff on the higher end that you and I had looked at and just climbed into, and as we got into that stuff, all the slides and electronics and this and that, that's all stuff that just goes out.
Yes.
Like you get out overlanding, you get out camping, you get a mouse, you get a squirrel, something up in there, chews out all the wiring. Like the last thing you need is that mess. So that was one of the other things that I liked about the campers that were the one that's here local. It's kind of just a rigid frame, no pop-up, kind of a teardrop design with a lot of solid amenities.
Yeah. And this is that $170,000 and I popped up here, Mark. Yeah. I wanted to, I want you to finish your comment, but yeah, the prices though were just for what, I mean, the one that I think the final one we did, I forget what company it was that was like 160,000 or something like that. Like I could see, I can't see it, but I can look at it and justify some stuff. This one here, I can't justify that price whatsoever, what they wanted for this thing, man.
And I don't know, because you were filming that one. Jess and I had got in the one on like the other side that they had been living out of and traveling. And it was nice. Don't get me wrong. But holy cow, like for what the pricing on that stuff was, I'm with you. Like and maybe there's some sort of technology we didn't see or whatever the case might have been. But I think there's just a lot of extra, it's glamping. It's not.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I want to show the inside of that one real quick, because I do want to discuss the other ones that you were leading to, which were a lot nicer. Yeah. But this is, I mean, I will say, the interior of this one was pretty well thought out. I remember how to do this. It's been a minute. But this is the interior. I mean, you're getting basically a king size bed, that's super appealing to me. It looks like there's probably some storage under this mattress.
Yeah.
But past that, you didn't really, I don't feel like you got much.
And that one there was a solid shell. It didn't lift or anything.
Yeah.
So I had stuck my head into that. I couldn't get into it. It was a crawl in.
Yeah.
So, it's to me, like at that price point, if I can't walk into it, like, then what am I doing?
Mm-hmm. But definitely lots of storage, and they, you had the TVs and everything, which I probably would, if I didn't have a TV in mind, what's going to be, you're going to be like, well, I should have gotten the TV because it's going to be raining, you're bored out of your mind or whatever. But yeah, I noticed a lot of them had these big old TVs in them, and I'm kind of getting away from nature. I don't want to bring the home exactly with me.
No, I agree. And all of the, super fancy color shift LED lighting, trimming out the interiors and stuff. Like I said, it's, to me, those aren't overland campers.
No,
that's glamping. That's, going site to site, that sort of thing. And not really dragging that through the woods.
Yeah, definitely on that. so you guys got out there a little bit before we did, or I
Yep.
did. And you picked up, I had it lined up to where Toyota had us a press vehicle waiting, and it was the new 4Runner, which I was excited to get in. I was hoping for like the TRD off-road, but we ended up getting a limited. And when I ask for vehicles, they'll say, hey, what do you want? You kind of give them a list, and it's whatever they have in inventory in that area that I can grab from. And the limited in that pretty blue, you remember the name of the blue they call that?
It's the Heritage Blue, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I'm sorry, I'm not up with Toyota color. I just guys, come on with these names, man. Can we not like simplify the names? But Heritage Blue is actually isn't that bad. But so you and Jess flew out what 2 days before I did, and
Yeah, we flew out Wednesday.
yeah, so you get the fancy ride. You come out there and figured out how the fleet management companies give you a vehicle, and you guys throw your bags in and instantly go north.
Yeah, we picked that up in Phoenix, rolled out to Flagstaff, and just really kind of got into the drive, checking it out, all the things, seeing how it handled and performed. I've never in any of the series driven a 4Runner before, so really just kind of enjoyed it.
Yeah, and so being a Ford guy, I mean, I know you've owned Toyota products, but you seem pretty down the Ford path right now, anyways.
Yeah.
What was there some hesitations about, hey, how's this vehicle going to be? What was your first thoughts before you got to the vehicle? I mean, you're processing, okay, I know we're reviewing this vehicle, things I want to look for.
So, having, I've been pretty Ford centric for a number of years. I've had Toyotas in the past. My first thought about it was, what is the overall quality, especially coming from like a Bronco side of the house. We all talk about how cheap the interior of the Bronco feels and how quickly, like closing the door, you scratch the plastic behind the door handle. And you've done reviews on the Bronco as well, just talking about, hey, this is supposed to be kind of a luxury price point SUV. Feels like Ford kind of cheaped out on some of the plastics. So I was wondering if Toyota was going the same way. So when I got in, I tell you, I was pleasantly surprised. I picked off that hash marked carbon fiber-ish look trim piece through the center of the dash. And there was some really nice quality, stitching, the leather work across the armrests, door panels. It really set itself off from Ford.
Yeah.
I was very pleasantly surprised that Toyota's really kind of like put in the work on this to say, hey, we know, 4Runners are off-road vehicles. Like, we know that's what you want to do. But, we're going to, and again, we were in a limited. Would we have the same accents and stitch work and leather work in, the TRD Pro or the off-road? I don't know. But even like the buttons that you're looking at now, they had a really good feel to them. And I liked that.
A nice weighted feel.
Yeah. And if my hand was casually resting on the shifter, I can reach out and hit those buttons, which I thought was, because they're a toggle, they're not a push. I thought it was a really nice touch to it.
Oh yeah, 100%. For me, the last 4Runner I'd been in was the previous generation. It was a 22. So I was, other than I've always liked the 4Runner design, that last generation, the 5th gen, it looked, even now, I think they still look fairly modern.
Yeah.
The interior of them was getting very dated. The shifting was, I don't know, if it had a very early 2000s feel to it to me. So I was kind of anticipate what's this going to be like. Now, me and Kelly last fall, I think we got to see the TRD Pro version of this thing and sit in it and push all the buttons, but I couldn't drive it at the time. And liked what I saw there and was very, very excited about what they were doing. The new 4-cylinder, the 2.4 liter, kind of excited seeing how they were ditching that V6, which was always underwhelming. I know that was the one thing I've always been amazed that the Toyota fanboy, the 4Runner fanboys, how they could overlook such a awful engine as far as horsepower. When that thing first came out, I want to say it was 9 maybe, and don't beat me up if you're in the chat not knowing the exact date when that 5th gen dropped, but it was very even then it felt underpowered. Nissan, the Xterra had 281 horsepower. I forget the 5th gen's 270 somewhere in there, but Toyota loves this. Hey, we want longevity. We don't want, we don't want to be king of the horsepower. But so getting into this 2.4 liter, I kind of know what Ford's 2.3 feels like, and some of the other brands feels like. I was very excited to get in this. I remember I think I texted you before I got out there, and I was like, hey, how's the peppiness of it? And you commented, you were like, hey man, this is pretty nice.
It was. I was surprised. I thought it was going to be a little laggy, especially at altitude. That's always a big concern. We went, Flagstaff is, over 6,000 feet in elevation. And when you do that on, a 4-cylinder, sometimes they're gasping, you just can't quite get that ratio right. And they get really, really laggy. And there wasn't, going up the hills, the mountainsides. I set the cruise control at 80 miles an hour, and didn't have any lags or issues. Passing other cars, that older ones that really kind of lagged up the hill. And it was, could watch the turbo spool up, the I-Force. You could hear it when it was needed. And it was a good run. I was very surprised how quick and how responsive it was.
Yeah, sport mode. I played with sport mode in it just a little bit. It was pretty spunky. Is this thing going to knock you back? No, not at all. But I really feel like they should. I know that everybody hates the 4-cylinder. They all wanted the V6 to stick around, and I mentioned in today's video the 5 good, 5 bad about it. That there's plenty of room in there to put a V6 in this thing. So I have a feeling they could listen. I mean, they're not going to do this ever, but they could listen and put something in there. I know they did the concept out at SEMA where they dropped the 3.4 and dropped it out of the truck and put it in one of those, and it fit. So I mean, there's definitely potential for some fun. And I know my buddy TRD John, who you got to meet out at the event, he did a video today where he was talking about it. He was talking about the TRD Pro version of the 4Runner, and he made some comments in his video, which I suggest everybody after this go watch and check out. John always has really good thoughts, but he was talking about how he was comparing the truck version, the Tacoma, which is what the 4Runner is, built around.
Yeah.
But he was talking about how, and John's a Toyota guy. He was talking that Ford is just kicking their ass with the Raptor.
Yeah.
And, with the hybrid version, you're getting 338, 340, somewhere right in there horsepower, but it's hybrid horsepower. And once again, it doesn't sound like it's going to knock you back. It's spunky. I've driven the truck. It is spunky, but it's no Raptor. But that he suggested that Toyota needs to take a deep look at what they're charging for these things. And hey, the price is $62 for a TRD Pro truck. I think 4Runner, you're almost $70,000 for the 4Runner TRD Pro with the 4-cylinder hybrid setup. And Ford's over there just whipping their ass at $58,000. So you're $4,000 to $8,000 cheaper in the Ford truck than you are in the truck or SUV with Toyota. Now that Ford faithful, I do understand. I have it in my driveway. The Raptor is $100,000 SUV. So yes, the similar setup. Yes, they're overcharging for that, which I will rip Ford up about that every day of the week. That truck is not $100,000 truck, and I have a good 5 bag coming out on that. You're going to stick around for that, but Toyota definitely. I think this was 60s somewhere in there that we tested it out as. It's loaded, guys. When I get a press vehicle, they don't give you a bare bones. I really wish I could get an SR5 bare bones, kind of a fleet package or a rental package, just to get a good feel for what, if you just want to dip your toes into this segment, what it would cost. But we don't get that. But I was disappointed in the price of this vehicle. I will say that.
I felt the same because I want to say it was up to like 67 when we looked at all the features that were in the particular one we were given, and it just, although I like the vehicle, and I even said to you, like I would put one of these in the driveway. I don't know, I would do it at 67. Like,
yeah, that's tough. That's a tough one. I think ideally though, I think the TRD off road is the way to go. You're still mid 50s, creeping into 60s, but you're getting some off road features that I would personally want. Now, once again, I'm off road heavy, but I know not everybody. Some people just want that cruise around town. I want 4-wheel drive in case of bad weather, and that's the only time I'm ever going to use it. I get that, but for me, I think the TRD off road probably that, or even honestly an SR5. Yeah, you're not getting the lockers and all that stuff. Yeah, that's pretty easy to add. You can ARB has the nice air
locker
setup. I guarantee you they're developing an air locker for this. I don't know if it's, I think it's a different axle than what it used to be, but if it's not, they have it, they're ready to go. So overall, that it was a nice ride going to Overland Expo, Mark.
Agreed. Yeah. And it was the right fit with all the other Toyotas and everything else.
I told Mark, I was like, you're going to fit right in, driving this thing into there because there's going to be Toyotas everywhere. And damn if there wasn't, man.
It was Toyota centric.
Very. And I think 4Runner this year, the new 4Runner was the vehicle to have. If you had a booth and you wanted to showcase products, there was a lot of that new 4Runner there.
Yeah, they were definitely ensuring that you saw the tow capabilities, the hauling capabilities, the roof capabilities, the interior, like they had, like I said, there was probably one at every booth, showing off how their product worked in conjunction with what Toyota was doing.
Yeah, that doesn't mean it's only Toyota though.
No,
Ineos had, I saw both the Grenadier,
Quartermaster.
Yep. So, and not just like one, I saw probably multiple, 5 or 6 in people's booths. So that was good for that brand, that people are. I think that community is kind of going, okay, I'm going to take this vehicle seriously. Yeah, that, especially if you want the Quartermaster, that you're $100,000 in that truck easily. Unfortunately, due to the chicken tax and all that stuff. And now, whatever tariff we got going on now, but that was nice to see that, which I got there was a comment I received about that. Hey, did you see any of that? And I feel bad that I didn't jump in and do some videos around that. For some reason, I can't get, I know you like the video. I just can't get excited about it. I had a chance last fall to drive the vehicle at a press event and just was like, nah, I don't know. And I showed you why.
Yeah.
You remember what I showed you, why it takes me away from this vehicle?
I don't, Ralph.
The shifter.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. It had the little BMW. Yeah. It takes you completely out of the ruggedness, because everything else, man, I mean, you're like in a spaceship with all the switches up on the roof panel and everything else. And then, we were looking in the window and you're like, that's the reason. That little mouse.
Thank you, Douglas Bear. Thank you for the nice words. Emily, next week I will make sure that the ladies are back in and discuss, because I know Allie's promoting the Dune Run at Silver Lake. She's handling that this year, so I want to get her a lot of press on that, as well as I want to talk some next week. We're going to talk some Woodward Dream Cruise, so definitely Allie and the ladies will be back for that. And if you ever, Emily, if you ever have a question, allterrainnationmedia@gmail.com. I will make sure it gets to wherever it goes, it needs to go, or if Kelly needs to answer it, whoever, Mark, Jess, or anybody here on the channel needs to answer it, we will just put in the title who you want it to go to, and I'll make sure they get it. But yeah, so that was nice. I was happy to see GMC had a booth there. That was GMC, right? Not Chevrolet. It was GMC.
Yeah, I think so.
It was nice to see their booth. I will say they had the wrong people in that booth. Like, they could care less about being there. I don't think they were the target audience for that. So that was kind of a bummer, which happens from time to time. Generally, these manufacturers hire people in the area that they want to promote their vehicle. They'll have somebody from the brand there kind of overwatching. Here's our speech you're allowed to say, and past that, you don't know anything. But I would like to see
several booths like that though. Like, I mean, we popped into a couple of booths and you could tell it was all like, you're not with this company. You have absolutely no idea what's going on.
One I'm currently reviewing some tires on.
Yeah, that one jumped to the front of my mind.
Yeah,
too.
I know. Kumo Tires, their booth, beautiful lady sitting there that had 0 F's about being there. And I hate, and I'm not being mean to the brand. I've got a review coming on those tires.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, I hate to say it. No, I don't hate to say it. It's surprisingly positive about what I'm going to say about these tires. Not that I was going to be negative, but you guys know me, I'm a snob on tires. But yeah, there was them, even brands like Iceco. Yeah. I was completely disappointed in it. For one, their booth, they didn't. Iceco makes, if you don't know, refrigerators. They do have a kind of an overlanding section, parts and stuff they do. And I didn't get their booth at all. Maybe we were late.
No, the setup was weird. They had one of their coolers underwater and like one cut in half, and then like some weird like camping setup off to the side, and they weren't like overly promoting it. Like, so, you know, it was just weird. Like, you're going to pay the money to be there and have all of this FaceTime with so many potential customers. Like, you want your A game people there to really talk about what is going on and what they can provide for you. And it wasn't all the booths. It was a select few, but there was plenty enough that we took notice that, you know, they were just kind of there.
Oh yeah, 100%. But I feel like we sell that at SEMA too, though. SEMA there was some Chinese brands there that I don't know if it was a language barrier or what, but they had higher guns sitting there for them. Yeah. And dude, it was very, I felt like a communist event, because they were like, if they could have had an AK-47 in the person's back they hired to talk about the brand or go faster, and I'm being kind of funny about it, but you could definitely tell on some of these that we've taken to you guys now that you can feel the language barrier. So Iceco is they're based out of the US. They do have a US team that was there, but I mean, they're a Chinese company, but
yeah.
But no, I would have liked to seen other brands there for that. I know Dometic, if I remember, I had a nice display.
They had a huge booth. Yeah,
I think Dometic they gave away a fridge.
Yep.
But what was something off-road wise? What was one of your highlights, Smart?
You know, there was a couple of lighting booths that had some really nice displays in them, and then you know, some of the suspension stuff. Like, there was some newer companies out there that were really just trying to show that, hey, look, here's if you're going to throw all this weight on your vehicle, you know, here's a great way to do that support. And they had some, you know, really innovative, you know, I think I saw all the way up to 4-inch bypass shocks and stuff like that for some of the bigger vehicles. But just kind of getting around and looking at those and the innovation that's going into suspensions and stuff like that to support those. Because on the flip side, if you're not an overlander and you're just doing off-roading, that'll support us too. So, you know, just kind of looking at that as well.
You know, I did feel like there was a uniform that I was supposed to wear, though.
Yeah, if you weren't in Patagonia, boy, you was stuck out like a sore thumb. You're like, oh, well, you're not an overlander. You don't have the right face.
I can't grow a beard, and I felt like anybody that was there, basically, you know, maybe there were some Amish women with a beard there too. I don't know, but I did feel a little out of place with my baby face there.
Yeah, definitely a level of ruggedness. I guess is the right term. Yeah. But you know, some of those guys, I mean, we've talked about the cost of the campers and stuff. Like, overlanding's not cheap. To set up your vehicle, to tow that weight, to run those trails, to get where true overlanders want to be, with the setup that they want, that stuff costs money. Like, this isn't a cheap hobby to get into. And those people that are in it were dressed to let you know they were in it.
Yeah, there's a uniform, man. And just like kind of any hobby, you know, I'm having fun with it, guys. Yeah. I was in khaki pants. I mean, I think because that's about all I have, but these white legs here, as you can see on stream tonight, they need a little tanning. But Yeah, no, was there one vehicle though that you were like that you saw, walking through, and I don't know if Jess in the comments there was one that she saw that you were just like, damn it, that's the one. And I don't mean the big like Unimog style campers. I mean, was
Right.
there something a more practical like vehicle there that you saw?
There was a couple of just the regular truck setups um, that were just cleanly done.
Mhm.
Like there was a couple with a couple rooftop tent ones, and a couple hauling some of the smaller trailers. And I should have gotten some photos of how the setups look, but it wasn't overly done. They weren't sitting on 42s. They weren't, on 7-inch, 8-inch lifts. They looked like it could almost be a daily driver and still get you out in the middle of nowhere, and get you home at the end of the month if that's what you're doing. So,
Yeah.
and that's what I appreciated was you did see some of those huge Unimog setups. Like I said, Storyteller and their huge $800,000 rig, which was gorgeous and looks like it could go, to Antarctica and back. But I really appreciated those teams and those guys that were out there just showing, kind of like what your average overlander was doing. They,
Yeah.
kind of like what we do with the Broncos and, my unmodded Ranger,
That
uh,
should be its name, the unmodded Ranger.
unmod,
Unmod, yeah. Not Unimod,
not
unmod.
Unimog, unmod, uh, unmod bod. But yeah, we all see vehicles and in our heads get pictures of how they should look for what it is we're doing or what we want to try to do.
Yeah.
And and that's what I appreciate with some of those, just chimed in the TRD at the ADS booth. And those guys wrapping them out and all that stuff. I think TRD John had his mat wrapped or something like that. For everything from just PPF mat wrapping to protect the vehicles, from pinstriping to like the full blown graphics like I have on the Bronco. Like we kind of saw a taste of all of it, even to some of the stuff that like what you had on Rebecca, the half wrap type, protection stuff. I think there was a really nice mix of all of it.
Yeah. So I want to bring up, this is probably my favorite that I saw at the show.
Yeah.
This was in the press driving parking lot where we were at. And something of like a patina truck, like we don't get like Tennessee's not bad on rust for this
Yeah.
age of vehicle, but you still will get some rust. You up north, forget it. This thing's already in a pile of rubble. But
Yep.
go out west and see how these vehicles, they just don't really rust. They just sort of patina a little bit. You get a little corrosion, but nothing crazy. And this F100, dude, I was like, I should have went and looked in the back of the camp. Well, I mean, you shouldn't go poking around people's trucks, but
Right.
I was curious, is there a camping setup in the back of this thing? Because I was like, I love this color. I think it's fun. I would drive this in a heartbeat. I would drive this daily. I love this,
Oh
the
yeah.
way this thing look. Look at the little skinny tires on it.
Yep.
Period. I mean, I hate to say period correct because he didn't modify it to look this way. But they're just everything about this is like kind of what it would have been 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago.
Yep.
They just didn't I love the push bars. Not a lot of people remember this. These were additions. The dealers would add these push bars.
Yeah.
Yeah, that you would get it if you wanted the steel bumper because you could get no bumpers at one point too. I remember the local Chevrolet dealership here. I see them with no rear bumpers. I remember my dad's Silverado he bought in 77 didn't have a bumper. Well, he paid for the upgraded rear bumper, the tow package, I guess it was.
Right.
And but yeah, no, I loved this. There was the little Honda element behind it was pretty fun too. But no, that was one of my favorites. And the Nissan Xterra that was at the Nitto booth.
Nitto booth, yeah.
Yeah, which is weird because I have that 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon with that vehicle for me. Like I come to find out after I figure out whose vehicle it was, I was like, holy damn, I know all about this vehicle and just never put it together.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the Arizona crowd was great. That's the granddaddy to me of Overland Expo does is that show.
Yeah.
They do them all around the country, and you get a good taste for it. But Flagstaff is so welcoming to this area. The area that we were at, it's like 2 miles from downtown.
Oh yeah, it was
but yeah,
crazy.
you don't feel like you're downtown.
No, I mean you literally felt like you were in the woods.
Yeah, the
Like you could have been 100 miles
area they
somewhere.
have, 100%. Me and Mark both talked about it. I would love to drive out there and just camp and imagine all the stories you would hear about the fun, I'm sure you'd make new friends. The camping area they had was probably just as big as the event area, if not bigger.
Oh, easily.
So that was fun. They actually had a creators area, which was cool. I forget. I recognized one of the guys. I've watched a few of his videos that was there. We got to meet Midnight Maverick.
Austin,
He came up and said, and I didn't catch who he was at first. And this sounds lame, but I've had many events you go to and people will say hi to you, and I'm not anybody by any means, so I don't mean this as being cocky, but me and him were just on the same press event together, but he was different days. He was there at the same time I was, but he was on different sides of the press event. And we got to BS a little bit. You guys got to meet him. Super cool guy, Austin.
Yeah.
Doing it in a Maverick, which I have to end. We're going to end with this as far as Overland Expo. The kitted out Maverick we saw, Mark, with
I think it was wild.
Damn, that was awesome.
Yeah, that camper top on a Maverick, like it stopped all three of us in our tracks.
Yeah,
we're like, holy shit, is that a Maverick? Like, and it was crazy. Like, and it was such a clean build, and who would have ever thunk that someone would be overlanding in a Maverick, or that a company would even invest the time to build a tent to go onto a Maverick. Like, that it was just crazy.
Yeah. If you guys want a little recap of it, if you go over to allterrainnation.com, there's articles there now, guys. Mark sent me the first draft of his that he wrote about the 4Runner today. And but there's I'm bringing in guest writers. We had friend Natalie, who was on the podcast a few months back, her and her husband. She did something on comparing the 4Runner, or the Tacoma versus the Ranger, which was a nice article. I've written many on there. One day Kelly will she wants to write. She's just scared of what you guys will comment about her writing. And I'm like, look, man, it's fine. Just get your thoughts out there and have a good time doing it. And who cares? We make money. We make money. If we don't, we're having fun doing what we do. But Mark, we got to hear our big picture. We did it in front of the look how short I am. I can't even bring, like, if I put me in it, I cut you out. This is the hell I live in. But it was nice. I will say, like, all the event tent areas and stuff was nice for either lunch, or they had nice people would come in and discuss trips they've been on or new products. That was
they
cool.
had hundreds of classes, like literally every single day, all day. You could sign up for classes, you could sign up. I mean, the whole event, it's so much more than just like a vendor show. Like it is truly a living teaching environment, on top of going to buy Rockworks shovels.
Yes, which dude, the dumbest thing to buy, like, for me, I don't need the shovel.
No, but it's cool.
I know, but it's the damnest thing. I did a video on these guys. Super nice guy. Love.
Yes.
No, they're Australian.
Yeah.
Love the company. And you're going to see me pushing their product on the channel. I'm not getting there's no pennies exchange on this. When I find a product I'm super passionate about, like the diabolical security center system, the slipstream that they do, Alan didn't pay me a penny to do that. He ended up sending me a product to review, but I would have promoted that whether he did it or not. Cause when I find cool American companies like that, I want to talk about it. And Rockworks is doing that. I think they've got some really cool stuff, and I think they're developing some more stuff. Anyways, but yeah, no, Mark, that was fun to see that that shovel. I almost bought it so we saw Motley Industries was at Super Celebration East, and you bought one of their toolkits for Jess. And I bought the little screws for the hardtop for the Bronco, which work in Jeep as well, which was really cool to know. But then I was out there and I saw the shovel and they had a nice discounted price for the show event. And I was like, how am I going to get this damn thing home? The only thing I can think of is I put it in my backpack somehow, and then it's got to go through security. And I'm going to be that guy flagged with his big metal item trying to go through his backpack. You ended up, though, I did buy something. Me and Mark, the competition is still real.
Yeah.
When one of us buys something, the other one buys something, except mine was like $100. Mark's, I don't know well, you spent $1,000+ on what you did. And
no, I didn't spend near that
not
much.
that bad.
No, it wasn't near that much.
Oh, good.
And fun fact, I'm now talking John, the engineer we talked to when I was over at their booth.
Oh yeah,
he called me on Friday because I found problems with their product that I purchased at Overland Expo, and sent them photos and reviews, and come to find out they never had a Ranger with a tow package when they were developing their exhaust systems.
I see this. These are the things I see that sometimes, like the hardtop issue that I brought up way before the video live stream. I talked about it over a year ago, I guess. But these are the things I see that sometimes small companies do. They rush things into production, and nothing against this company because I know they're going to make it. This is a good company. They're going to make whatever right for you. But sometimes I'm like, guys, did you not? I know you want to be one of the first to get to market, especially for manufacturers like this. You don't want to be left. You don't want to be the third guy. You want to be the one or two.
Yeah. 100%.
And so I think that we haven't discussed this, but I think that's what bit them in the ass was the rush to be number one.
Well, and if you're buying exhaust, because I mean, let's face it, the Ranger, I have the 2.3, doesn't really have a sound when you go down the road. I'd like to make it, it's a 2.3. It's not going to rumble like a V6. It's not, it's going to squeak like a mouse in comparison to a V8. But I'd still like
V6 rumble,
right? I'd still like you to hear me coming down the street. So, you buy exhaust, you got to buy an intake, you got to breathe, you got to exhale. And they were the only ones on the market with an intake. And I know they're a reliable company. I've used their products in the past.
What was the company again?
It's AFE Power.
AFE, yeah.
Which
we did a video for on ATN Off-Road. Me and Kelly did a video walk around, and super nice guys.
Yeah, great company. Like I said, I've run their products in the past with zero issue. And one of their guys told me that the owner was huge into the Rangers. And wanted to make sure that they had product for it because no one was doing anything really for the 24s.
Yeah.
And when when you walked up and we were filming a little bit, I was talking to John, their engineer. We were talking about some other products as well, and he's actually the one that reached out to me and called and was like, Did
he remember you for?
He remembered. Yeah. Good. I was like, when he called me, I'm like, hey, we spoke at Overland. I said, this is who I was. He's like, oh yeah, I remember. So I'm hoping, they're going to make it right.
Good.
We'll look at a different exhaust, but they're going back to the drawing board with, the photos that I sent them.
But as media as we are, we're the right people to have that problem. Even though I know you would like to have your toy to play with your toy. Obviously, we're all big kids.
Right.
But we're the perfect person because for one, I'm not going to dump on a company unless they just ultimately deserve it. Like you email them, say, hey, there's these problems, and they never return and they just keep selling garbage. I'm going to dunk on you a little bit, but the kind of the plus point for us is we're able to give feedback. They want our feedback because they know, hey, these guys want to promote, or not necessarily promote. We want to review their product and give here's a good and bad. And if we just right now, if you dropped your video of like, hey, this thing was just a pile of garbage, they don't want that out there. So we're the perfect people to kind of help out.
Yeah. So like I said, took a ton of photographs, emailed it over them, talked when John called me, told him exactly where things hit and, the angles and, if you did this and this and this, it'd probably work. So hopefully but he said first thing he's got to do is get onto their website and update the description to let people know so that the unsuspecting customer doesn't buy that and have a tow pack. 'Cause, I mean, I get it, it's a Ranger, like you're not towing a ton with it, but most guys, if it comes with a tow package, we're gonna put a tow package on it. So
Yeah. Well, they don't call them Danger Ranger or Ranger
right?
Danger or whatever for nothing. I have to say, High Valley dude, but I liked your first message better because ATM family. Yeah, you're gonna deposit some money for me, man? Come on, bro. Like that's a super chat all the way, right? If you're saying ATM, like I like where your head was at. I'm playing, by the way. Andy Ackerman in the house. It says, where's the important people? Andy, next week. The important people will be back. We're reformatted this show just slightly. Everybody's still part of the channel. Nothing's changed. Allie's in the middle of she's deep in promoting Supercell, and now she has her own event to promote. So we wanted to give her a little break, and we're not completely Ford centric here. And Kelly just got back from ball, so my daughter was 2 hours away playing ball, and she couldn't be on tonight. And of course, Jess will be on here. We're gonna do a lady. I'm telling you, there's gonna be a lady show, and all the ladies can have their fun. And look, there's a guy with a beard and there's a person with no beard. What more do you want right now? Let's see. But wrapping that up, man, the event was good. I think I will go out next year again. I think that's worth covering again. I would like to drive out, but I just don't know that it's unless you guys really step up and start watching some videos. Right now it's just not practical for me to drive out, but I would love to. But no, I think definitely covering that again would be great. And I think next year we're going to see even bigger and better because Forerunner will have been out for over a year then. That's going to be great. We saw a ton of Bronco stuff. I was amazed at the Bronco stuff we saw there. And once again, I don't want to go deep into that, but that was great to see Bronco getting a lot of love. There was a Bronco that gave Mark and him a lot of love because they wouldn't leave him alone about military things. So that was kind of fun. But yeah, so and a lot of brands were represented there, and that was great. I think ultimately too the GMC that we saw at the oh god, what was that company that you could buy that white one I reviewed, walked around a little bit. I can't think of the damn company right now. AT4, that was great. I love seeing the thing kitted out, and you could buy it cheaper than you could almost buy it new.
Oh yeah. That was their last build, and they were getting ready to start a new build, and we're selling that one off. Yeah, that was really, really nice and well executed.
Yeah, Andy, definitely. We'll make plans. I still owe you me and Kelly. Andy was going to go to Moab with us at one point, and I still owe Andy a good trip. Let's see. Douglas Bear says 8 watching, 4 likes. Come on, yeah, we do. Pass out free bourbon to get more people to the show. Yeah, the shows. I think this new time is kind of hurting viewers right now, but that's fine. They'll come back, or they can watch it down the road. That's the great thing about the podcast. You can watch it anytime. You can listen to it especially if you pay for YouTube Premium. You know what? You can listen to it like it's an audio podcast. So you can just turn your phone, click it off. You don't have to watch it, and you can still listen. So that's good. Mark, this week I got to see something fun, and it was from a Scout, which I haven't got to talk about Scout too much because, well, there's just not been they've been putting a lot of stuff on their Instagram about building the plant, which I think is great. I love the updates on that. Let me bring this. I want to bring this up here and show everybody the updates to the plant. But there's just not been a lot to talk about with Scout just yet, and I'm getting pumped, man. We're still not basically 2 years away, I think, before we see it. They say late 26. That really, let's be honest. Ford also said with Bronco, hey, you can start ordering in 2020. And what happened? We had to wait till 21. And then basically didn't get it until the end of 21. But I'm pretty pumped about Scout. Now we're both reservation holders, Mark. So that's kind of fun. Let me bring this up here. My stupid I wish this software we use gave me more options. But the plant's built. They're working on interior stuff now. Obviously there'll be roads, paving, stuff like that on the outside. But we're getting closer, dude, and this is pretty exciting.
Yeah, I mean, obviously reservation holders, they send us emails and whatnot. So I've kind of watched with bated breath as this thing is kind of come up from the ground.
Oh,
I
look
know
at
there
this.
was
Look, ATN at Bronco. Like this picture. So that's kind of fun that you can see that you like that. Sorry to interrupt, Mark.
no, you're good. They ran into some issues with the site survey, and some of the watershed looked to be like shut down. They had to do some extra work out there. But it's all that, I mean, that all comes with, creating a massive manufacturing facility. So, but they seem to be rebounding from everything that, would stop other companies. And there's a serious determination to get this thing up and running and these lines going.
Yeah. Yeah, as someone who works for an engineering firm, I have to say a lot of these watershed things, they design stuff on paper always works out great. When you start digging holes and stuff, it doesn't always work out so great.
Right.
But no, yeah, no, the paint building's done. This is the lines 1 and 2, I think, over here. Um, I'm pumped. I would like to go drive. I'd almost drive over there to just see see the building, which I know people that are doing that.
Road trip.
Yeah, definitely road trip, man. Of course, we're gonna be in the kind of close to the area for the what is it? The feud.
Yeah.
So we're kind of in that area this fall. But this got my attention right here, and this is on their Instagram page. There's a new color in town, Mark.
I know. They had like a whole palette in voting.
Yeah, yeah, which was kind of fun. And I screen captured these, so let me bring these actually up a little bit bigger. But it's some of the excitement that we felt from Bronco. Of course, Bronco things went faster.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're still in prototype phase of this thing. They're assembling the line. Once they get the plant ready, they can determine their final assembly of the vehicle and then get ready for that. But I'm kind of getting pumped for this thing. And no EV's ever done this to me. Like that we have a reservation on this. I have a reservation on the Ram Rev. I've not heard that.
I mean, you were pretty pumped with Canoe when it first showed up.
Well, I was come by the fun. I'd never put a reservation on that one because I knew that company was dead on arrival, much like Tello and the Slate. Those you're never going to see these actual vehicles on the road. But no, this one here is backed by Volkswagen, so they're not spending basically $5 to $10 billion and not want to recoup some of that. So I do feel like we're going to see this, Mark.
Yeah, I mean, you're not building that size of a facility to not produce something.
Yes.
I can't see, unless you're looking for, your sales are so terrible, you need a drastic write-off of failure to offset your sheets. But yeah, I mean, minus something cataclysmic happening and the line never turning on, I fully expect at some point. I agree with you. I don't think it'll be 26. I think it'll be 27 as they finally. And I think a lot of that also has to do with their ability to get building supplies as we kind of march through the current administration and some of the stuff that's going on. It'll make supplies a little more expensive, which may cause a slowdown to productivity. But I think that's going to come around. And in the meantime, what I would really like to see Volkswagen doing is pumping out and promoting more charging stations, or what is the home technology for you to be able to charge this. So what are they doing? And I've talked about this on other live streams when we talk EV. Who is or where is the infrastructure coming to support this stuff? So, would love to see one of these, have the reservation because I believe in the product and I think it's going to be something really cool and amazing. Mm-hmm. But, if I'm going to drive this, around, I got to be able to plug it in somewhere. And who's working on that?
Well, I initially ordered the strictly EV version of it, mm-hmm. and changed it recently to a Harvester versions, which gives you the gas generator along with it, which is not, by the way, attached to the powertrain. No. I still think they need to do a actual motor version of this thing. I think you drop a straight 6 or something in this vehicle,
It'll fly off the shelves.
Oh God, yes. This would be a home run with a straight 6 in it. But I alluded to the interview a few months ago where on Motor Trend's YouTube channel they interviewed the CEO of this. Great interview. Very open about what he could really talk about. There's certain things they don't want to talk about just yet, but very open to he basically said, hey, if people don't want EV, he left the door open of like, well, we'll see what happens.
Right.
But this is a new color that they dropped here, Mark. I don't remember the name of it. This doesn't look like a rendering. This looks like an actual, like, because there's changes that we've both noticed about this thing. New wheels, those wheels look different. The bumper of this thing looks more practical, kind of modular. If you look at it, like kind of what Ford Bronco did, this looks like all these caps and stuff come off. Maybe I see a winch cable there. I don't know if that's for show or go.
Yeah, I think that's their dark green or forest green that they're going with. I don't know if that's the official color for it.
Yeah, looks great though. I like this little light bar up here. I would hope if you're gonna offer a rack like this, because that rack actually looks really cool, that you would offer your own light bar with this.
It looks integrated. Like
yes.
that's probably part of the rack and wired straight in.
But do you remember when Bronco they were showing those weird not tube doors, but they had those hole doors. They had these
halo doors.
Yeah, the weird concepts and stuff. They had all these weird concept parts that people thought they'd get to buy and just never came to fruition. I hope that light bar is not like that, because it looks, honestly, if you look at the shape of it too, it looks very aerodynamic and like it may not make a lot of noise in the driving down the road. But definitely it's a harvester. You can see it right there, the little plug there for the harvester. These new wheels, those look prime time, ready to go, look great.
Agree.
Go ahead, Mark.
I would say that they actually remind me of what comes out on the Bronco. I mean,
yeah, a little bit, yeah. They're not beadlocks, definitely.
No. But even the front bumper, I mean, that looks super close to the Bronco modular, front bumper.
Oh yeah, and imagine this. So obviously we both own Broncos, so we're a little biased. But with Bronco, what they did was change the off-road segment of what manufacturers can do.
Oh yeah.
And I know Jeep had a modular bumper, but I never really heard a ton of people talk about it or people take notice of it the way they did Bronco. But definitely Scout did. They've definitely taken notice of, people want a big steel bumper up there. Which is
and the ability, and it looks like Ford doesn't do a good job integrating a winch. That's a winch hook right there in the front of that bumper. So I mean, if they've got that thing licked and they've got a full 10,000 pound winch tucked up inside of that, now the benefit to them is there's no engine. So
I was about to say that,
huge win for the Scout.
Lots of room for activities.
Right. Seriously. I mean, you could load that front end with stuff, but you're talking more weight, more push.
I'm hoping it's at minimum a 12,000 pound winch.
Yeah.
Because this bastard, it's going to be heavy, man.
100%. But I mean, you've got a nice bash plate underneath there, looks integrated, little bar on the front, and by appearance, some really solid toe points or recovery points on the front. So
it definitely reminds you of Bronco, though. The shape.
100%.
Not that Bronco, not that Ford's super original with that, but get me those. They definitely want those. There's vibes they want. They want a little Jeep vibe. They want a little Bronco vibe. They even want some 4Runner vibe to this. So friends of the channel, Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk, Tim with a D over there. Jill Simonillo was able to. She was at a press event I was supposed to be at, and guess what showed up? The damn Scout showed up. What do they call this one? The Traverse or something? Traveler. And she was talking to some of the PR people there, and they're not set on this Scout glowing just yet. And I'm like, if you don't make that bastard glow, I'm keeping my $70,000 or wherever this damn thing's gonna cost. I want that bastard to glow. I want it to be exciting. Says, people rolling up. for one, there's no going to be mistaken. That's a good thing about the way the front end looks. There's no mistaking what this is. If they put round lights on this, there might be a little like, oh, is that a Bronco? What are we looking at here?
Yeah.
But you still get the cool vibes. The one thing I love about this, you still get the fun vibes of the original. Still, even though the lights aren't the same, I still like the vibe of it.
But I mean, and we've seen that with, other than, Jeep. I mean, the Bronco ditched its, heritage round headlight, but it did iterations of square lights, and then now it's current iteration, melding a few others. So I think you're right. I think there's some serious excitement. The way those lines from the lights pull through and wrap into the fenders. It's just an exciting vehicle. And to me, the light up Scout badge, if they don't do it, someone will make it. It'll be an aftermarket.
Oh, God, yeah. Hey, IEG Off-Road.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Oracle, somebody will have Putco, someone will have the light up emblem within a month of this thing being released. If they say it doesn't light up, like someone's already going to be working on it.
Oh no. And it looks like even that doesn't look like it's lit up, but that's kind of fun. One thing I just quickly noticing there, these you can get 35s on these. Now, and don't fool yourself. This is going to be a almost nearly full size SUV. This is not Bronco size, Jeep size Wrangler. But you're not putting anything past a 35 on that tailgate, because the way this mount looks, that's it. No 37s for you guys.
Yeah, but again, looking at weight to performance ratios, like they're probably letting you know, like if you put 37, like your range is gone.
Yeah, EV. Forget it.
All that excess weight, like you're just not going to do what we want you to be able to do with it. And I think, smart or not, like if someone really wants 37s, they're just removing that cage. Like that's all that.
100%. Or somebody will modify. There'll be a way. That's the great thing with the off-road community is they'll figure out ways. And two, you were talking about, putting different tires and wheels and stuff on it. Over at Smoking Tire Podcast, they were talking about that. They're getting into I forget what Porsche it is, not the Pan America, whatever the EV Porsche is called. Off the top of my head, I can't think of it. But the used market on these things they've just went to shit. So you can buy a nice Porsche very cheap now. But he was talking about that. He put new wheels and tires, put lighter wheels on it. And even though he put lighter wheels on it and a little bit more offset, it still was actually affecting the range of the vehicle. So just remember that if you're interested in these vehicles, their EV is so dialed in the way they do performance of an EV is once you modify one of these things, you're not going to get the same range, no matter if maybe lighter's not always better, I guess, for electric motors. But
no, I mean, like you said, I mean, these things are dialed into a T. Like if they say that this gets this range with what we roll out the door, it's because that's what gets that range. You change tread patterns, you go from an AT to an MT, like all that stuff will drastically affect your range on an EV.
And hopefully they stick with, you guys know I'm a BF Goodrich snob, but hopefully they stick with the KO3s there, and hopefully it's a KO3 developed for EV, the heaviness of EV, because that's the one kicker of electric vehicles in general. Sure, you're saving on fuel. You're not buying the fuel, but you're still using oil because you're using a lot of tire. You're getting maybe 10,000 miles out of tires, which can you imagine once a year going to buy tires?
Especially at 35s. No, thanks.
Yeah. So maybe me and you own these for a year, and that's about it.
That's all we can afford. I was going to trade out tires, but I'm just going to get rid of the vehicle instead.
Right. This green in this photo though looks great.
Yep.
I really like that. Once again, this looks more of a production. I won't say ready, but they're really dialing in production. Look at the steps here. Those look cool. I don't know if that's we're speculating. That looks like a plastic top, maybe metal bottom. Something like that. That looks cool. These wheels definitely different from the concept we saw earlier. I do like the fact that they've been able to keep the kind of glowy taillights there.
Yeah,
the little E that it does there. Look at the third brake light. I love that, how it's so thinly integrated into there. It doesn't stand out. It's hidden, but yet you're gonna get a lot of light from that. That rack looks great. That build that.
Yeah.
People want the futuristic looking racks that look like this. And of course, EV company, it's got to be aerodynamic. So this isn't a wind tunnel. This rack is. So
Oh yeah.
super. I'm very, very pumped for this thing, Mark.
I am too. I like that it's kind of being built in the backyard, not far
Yeah.
from here. And they're kind of sticking to their guns. Like they're taking feedback, they're starting to leak, or provide color, stuff. Um,
Yeah, which I'll get
and
into in just a second.
it'll like the Bronco, it'll build the hype around it,
Yeah.
prior to its release. And there'll be a lot of naysayers, just like there was in the original Bronco group when the Gen was released. That's not a Scout. Scout's supposed to look like this or do this and stuff like that.
I feel like they were smart with their community go. They went to the community and because that was not a dead community, but a very niche, strong, passionate community. I think they really went to those people. And I know some people they talked to about, hey, what would you like to see in this? Obviously, we're not building the original Scout. We're not going to do that, but what would you like to see in more modern version? One thing that stands out to me in this picture though, the axle. The rear axle of this thing, I know they bragged about, hey, we're going to have a real rear axle of this. This looks strange to me. I'm curious.
I don't know that you can do a real rear axle on an EV.
Yeah.
I don't know how, EVs, the power is at the wheels. Like that's where the motor is, on the wheel. So how do you power down to the drive,
I mean, is it going to be, you think, like, they talk about rear axles and lockers and all this stuff. Of course, EVs, what they call a locker is just programming, or my
Right.
understanding of it is it's not like there's a actual locker in the rear of this thing. But they were talking initially about bragging about real we're gonna have real axles in this thing. So I'm assuming it's independent front and rear suspension, some sort of small diff. I mean, it wouldn't need a big diff. I don't even.
No.
I mean, it really doesn't even need a diff. Once again, depending on how you configure it, like you said, the motors at the wheels. But this did stand out to me. But boy, talk about clearance. You're not going to drag on anything there, are you?
No. I mean, that's the great thing about a electric off-road vehicle. Other than some suspension, there's nothing to drag. Like you basically have, a giant skid plate underneath your vehicle. So,
Douglas Blair, the only way I can think of for articulation is it's fully independent front and rear suspension. I mean, if the desert racers can run independent suspension all the way around, there's no reason why modern vehicles can't. It flex. I don't know how you would ever modify these things to get more articulation if you're wanting to run 37s or what down the road, but it's a new fun problem to have. So
right.
We'll leave it at that. Ultimately though, Mark, this thing, this color, it looks great. I want to bring up something we saw on the internet. Now these aren't freshy new, like, oh my God, these photos are that new, but I want to show on the forum. They have a good forum, by the way, and they were smart to develop a forum day one of, hey, we're going to, we want to develop our own community. We're one vehicle or two vehicles right now. So we really got to bring in people. We need that fan base to grow, but we want that core to really like what we're going to do. So this is over on Scout forum, evforum.com. And they Photoshop some colors in here, Mark. And we were talking about this before the show. This gets me excited. I do love seeing. Now this is
you like crazy colors. You're that lime green, cyber orange loving.
Yeah.
But
that black looks great. I don't think I would buy it.
No, I wouldn't go with a straight black.
But these are renderings people's photoshopped the colors. These are colors that Scout had said, "Hey, we're looking at." I do like that gray though, and I'm not a gray guy per se, but that gray looks good on this thing.
Yeah.
Kind of I won't say silver, I don't know, gray somewhere in there. Looks kind of lead foot gray from forward a little bit. The pillars being blacked out that's smart. If this thing was one solid color,
I think if they go with a black roof, especially like I would want that white with the black roof. I wouldn't want
yes,
that
yeah,
all
you want
white
that
out.
tuxedo look a little bit.
Yeah.
This red looks like that rapid red that you guys know I love from Ford. Probably when it comes time to order one of these bastards, Kelly's going to be pushing for that color. She loves that color quite a bit. A little bit of orange here, so we're getting into some spunk here. I do like that a little bit. Now, this is more of like the cyber orange that Ford offered.
Yeah.
But I'm more into this this kind of sunburnt look myself. Now, I'm going to be honest, Mark. If this lime green's there, the lady downstairs right now is not going to get a say so in this one. As a press vehicle,
yeah.
I always want press vehicles. When I buy one for a year review, I want some fun color. On the Mustang, I did the rapid red because I felt like it was a fun color. It wasn't boring. Plus, it's a kind of throwback color. I know this lime green is not throwback, but damn that look!
It's gonna stand out. You're gonna stand out in the crowd.
Yeah, that would be fun. And so this is kind of a color that I think Ford's got coming on the Bronco.
Yeah.
This looks great. This is
Yeah,
definitely kind of classy, but still a little sass to it.
right. It's like a bronze, I
Mhm.
think is what they're calling it. And I think you're right. I think there's a class touch to that one.
Yeah. This one gives me military vibes, definitely.
Yep.
Which is, I mean, not that scouts were in the military by any means, but I know I was poking fun at Overlanders for the beards and the uniforms, but definitely this vehicle gives you those vibes of like some cool military-ish vibes to it. Kind of a fun color. Here's that green I think that we saw a little bit ago. I think obviously it's a little brighter than it should be.
Yeah.
But still not bad. And here's the color I think that you got all excited by, Mark.
Yeah, that's the one. I think it's that one. Very similar to what Toyota's just released for their 26 lineup.
What do they call theirs? Something beach something or
Yeah, something like that. Because we talked about it. It was kind of like the name of the surf or the color that was on the surf at SEMA. But yeah, I mean, I like that, shock blue type.
Yeah.
If you love the Joker, like get your
or the Stradman if you're into watching the Stradman here on YouTube. Purples. But you know what?
That's gonna draw a crowd. Like I would predict that if they brought that purple out, that would be a wildly popular color.
I don't know if wildly popular, but damn, I mean, if you're gonna start a new company, you need traditional colors, obviously some muted reds, black, silver, stuff like that. But take some chances like this.
Yeah.
This is what Bronco right now so needs. Bronco, I know you're a classic gray guy with your Bronco, and nothing wrong with that. But Jeep takes chances with colors. They got new orange that they're doing this year for the Wrangler. Scout needs to definitely take some chances like this. And of course, here's more of a more brown traditional. You can do both. You can have a color for the people that want EV or the hybrid, whatever you want to call the generated version, that may want the more traditional color like this. And you can also give some people these colors. I think there's a good balance.
I agree. And I mean, you see it in Jeep all the time. Like they've got your whites and your blacks and regular blues and then lime green.
Yeah. So out of all these colors, Mark, I know you're a great guy, but where give me your top two colors that I know we don't really have names for them here.
Yeah.
But what are you leaning towards? Your top two colors?
Probably that blue. and that
Really?
gray. Yeah. And
Really?
I know those kind of opposite ends of the spectrum. And, my Bronco's
Okay.
carbonized gray, my Ranger's carbonized gray. But, I'm getting old. Maybe I need a little fun color in my life. I'm not a purple guy,
Some
but,
90s vibes here.
you know, I could definitely, with the right white graphics on that, be driving a Dixie Cup. So, uh,
Or what was the purple with that and some blues? Um the whole night there was a 90s vibe, the early 90s vibe that the basketball teams and stuff had this color, and then they had some purple, like light purple tones with it. And yeah, no,
mhm.
that's hilarious. Um yeah, no, so purple's off your list, huh?
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm not, yeah, no, I don't need to
But you
drive
really think people would buy this color?
yep, I sure do.
You know, there was a story a few months ago. I don't remember what outlet had it, but they were talking about why cars are going to boring colors. Like there is a they're so analytical now with what their approach to colors. Like, hey, 50% choose black, red, or whatever, that they don't want to venture out too far past this. But no,
But I think we're gonna see a shift. And the grays, that was the whole thing, millennial gray.
yeah.
Like houses are painted in it, cars on the road, and everything else. But we're starting to see a shift in that color palette because as those people start to phase out and they start targeting younger consumers, those younger consumers like color.
Oh, one,
So,
yeah.
housing, you're going to see a shift from that millennial gray to people putting color splash back in, accent. Well, remember back in the 90s or whatever, early 2000s, the accent wall where you had everything painted the same, but one wall was totally something off. I think you're going to start seeing that. And I think they're going to bring that sort of color palette around. That sand color would be my third.
Yeah, no, this kind of all of the I'm not sure if there's some green to that or not, would definitely be. For me though, this is my number one.
Oh, yeah.
That is my number one, and that red is probably my number two. Um I also, for what I'm looking for too, there's got to be some thought about resale, because I'll only own this vehicle for a year, if that. So I definitely would own it, get rid of it. Or yeah, I mean, God forbid it turn into the Bronco for me, where I own a couple of them.
Right.
And but I do you think though, and this is just off the cuff, do you think they do something like this and then they have a down the road they do a performance version, like kind of like a Raptor, not Raptor-esque, but do you think they get the base-ish models out and then offer more of a performance?
Yeah, but how would you power it? I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
and that would be the big thing. I think if they were to look at what Ford has done and, the 392 and the Jeep and stuff like that, if they can build the right base of support and consumer, and we're able to do a full performance one, I think they would absolutely do it. They'd be foolish not to, seeing the popularity of like the 392, of the Raptor line, stuff like that. They would have to offer, and they'd be the only EV, doing it. Like, Tesla offers, several different lines as far as their vehicles and their luxuries and stuff like that. But to have a, true performance off-road EV, would set them apart again with what they're doing.
Yeah. This orange lend itself to this. Isn't it weird how certain shapes of vehicles, colors lend themselves better than other colors?
Oh, 100%. And I think, they showed some renderings that had the full color matched roof. Most of what we're looking at now seems to have the black roof. And I think that on every color we've looked at, the black roof really pings off of it. And I don't think I would do a color match roof. I think I would go with black.
Yeah. So let's end with this on about talking about Scout, because we'll have more news about this. There'll be videos coming down the road on this vehicle. Price point of this vehicle. They've not mentioned anything about Scout, Mark.
Yeah, that makes me nervous.
Yes, makes me. I mean, luckily, what was it, like $100? It wasn't a big reservation fee.
No,
But
yeah.
where do you see now? We live in a world where this thing was announced 6 months ago or more. We had a different administration in the office. We have a more not pro EV administration, even though it's ironic that Musk was a big you know lover of the current administration. And I'm not asking you to shit on either
No,
guys, whatever. This is not political nation. Um, but facts are the EV credits are going away. So there's potential. What was they, $6,700, something like that credit.
yeah.
Um, Slate's going to have this problem now too. They said, "Oh, we're going to have a $20,000 vehicle with tax credit." That's You can count that's going to be gone. Where do we see this? Where do you think this vehicle is going to? And I ask this of you because you're more of the common. I'm more embedded in what press does. You're getting there, but you're more the common guy right now of
I'm a commenter.
where you think this vehicle would be. And guys in the comments, let us know real quick too if you're there.
My heart hopes that we're looking high 60s, mid 70s. And that's without any sort of tax incentives or credits.
Right.
I think realistically, once they get into production, cost cycle, and everything else, they're going to have to buy back all of the infrastructure they put into that plant. So, realistically, is this going to be a 6-figure car? I don't think it'll be, an EV Hummer, but my fear is it's going to touch 110, something like that.
Pretty wise, Mark. Mark the Wise. If you were in the Lord of the Rings, you'd be Mark the Wise. Or the red, as we'll say with your beard. Mark the Red. No, I think you're pretty spot on with that. I think, and I don't want to trust me. I don't want to think that I'm buying a vehicle that's going to be $100,000. I've got one now that I don't think it's a $100,000 vehicle, nor do I think this is a $100,000 vehicle. But at the same point, EVs lose money. The facts are that, like, Tesla is the only profitable EV company right now. And I think that's just because they've been able to survive for so long, and they don't update their product maybe every 10 years plus. No, I would like to see. Michael Cooper says 80K. Scott Dunsmore says 70K. I would like to think that it's in that range, but at the end of the day, Dave the Wise here says probably 95 is where this thing's going to be. And now they're going to do I don't think a fleet version, but they're going to have a entry level version. And then we're going to have more of a, people want the luxury. I'm more in tune with the off-road, whatever. If they have 3 packages, like an entry level off-road and then the luxury version, I'm off-road package every day. I want what we see here and bring it back up. I want what I see here. Yeah. I want the off-roady tires. I want the lockers, whatever you want to call them, the e-lockers. I want that. And you know what I think I want? The bench seats, Mark. I think I want to go old school back.
You want front and back bench seats?
I think so.
I'm not opposed to that. I actually like a bench seat, and I know it's weird, and I know it's a throwback, and people are going to be like, "Oh, but you need the comfort and the lumbar support." You don't. I grew up and rode in a station wagon with the third row that faced backwards out the back window. Yeah. So you get car sick. I mean, I would like to see the bench seat in this. I think that would be, again, a nice nod to its heritage. And I just think it would make it so much more fun.
Yeah, and what I don't want is a third row.
No,
at all.
Absolutely not.
I know Kelly's downstairs. She heard me say this. She'd be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. This is for one, I'm a family of 3 people right now. My son's no longer with me. I don't need to haul 9 people in a vehicle, but I want 2 bench seats, basically. I want that screen, that interior. Please don't change that. What we saw from the concept. I know there'll be tweaks. but give me that. And yeah, I think I think I really do want to say 70, but I'm more probably 85 to 95 range is what I think they'll be. But either way, unless it's just a pile of garbage when they launch, I think it's going to be a pretty good seller.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not. I mean, maybe not. They're not selling. They're probably selling 100,000 a year, which would be good for EV. I think an EV brand, a big EV truck like this would be great for that. Um, Scott Dunsmore says, "How does it compare to Rivian?" Well, this is more of a full size vehicle. That's something that's not been communicated well to. I think only people that's seen it in person understand this. That it's more of a full size, Yukon, maybe a little smaller than a Yukon, but more of that size vehicle.
Right.
I would have loved it to be Bronco size, but then you lose battery pack size. There's a lot of downsides to that. Claimed 400-mile range plus. Is it more? I can't remember with the Harvester, the generator.
I thought it was like 450, something like that.
Let me pull it up real quick because I don't want to speak because I'm very pro this vehicle. So I don't want to quote it wrong. Let's see. What does Google say? It's over 500 miles range with the version, and I think it's 350 without it.
350 on a full charge with the Harvester extender. It's 500.
Yeah. So I'm pretty excited for it. You'll see more down the road. You're going to see more content about it once. I can never get my little sticky fingers on some insiders over there that would like to feed me. Dave's hungry over here. Feed me some good information, and I will gladly talk about it. Mark, at the end of the day, Traveler or the truck version, which one are you? The Terra.
So I ended up reserving the Traveler with the Harvester. Yeah.
Okay.
I did really, really, really look at the truck version, the Terra, and at the end of the day, like, it depends on what vehicle, like you said, I give up for this to come into the.
Oh, I think I know which one you would give up in a heartbeat for this. I think the truck goes away.
And at that thought, do I need the truck? Do I need the Terra? If I give up the truck, do I need to keep the truck? Or channel wise, if you've got the Traveler and I have the Terra, we're able to look at the two of them. So but right now I've gone ahead and reserved the Terra. I might switch it later, I don't know. I just like the look, so we'll see.
Yeah. No, I don't think it's going to be that massive, Scott. I think it's.
Oh, that Hummer EV.
I think it's under more of a Tahoe, just a little smaller than a Tahoe. I hope to down the road have some good content with this thing when it's more in production ready. And like Mark said, we might do a road trip over to the plant just to talk about this thing. That might be a fun weekend, Mark.
Agreed.
You guys, the fun thing about this channel is I go where you guys kind of want us to go. So initially, yes, I did Bronco and, I've done Nissan in the past, but I tend to go where views are. If you guys are interested in this style vehicle, I'm willing to travel for it. So just in the comments below, let me know what you guys think about that. So that was Scout, Mark. We're just going to have to hold our excitement for probably another 6 months before we get more details of pricing and stuff like that. But I'm super pumped for it. Mark, Ford is not pro, they're not when it comes to recalls. Ford is a leader above when it comes to recalls. And I hate to say that. I'm not pro Ford channel by any means. I like where it's South Carolina, Scott, if you're at. Yeah, I think that's right. North or South Carolina. But I've tend to been drawn to Ford recently because I like what they're doing. Bronco, Mustang, stuff like that, F-150. They do some fun stuff. But Ford develops things so fast that Mark, they tend to after they develop, they go, "Oh shit,
Yeah.
we gotta fix some problems, man." And this week it came out that, or this past week, that the Maverick is being recalled over an instrument panel bezel issue. And now I've seen weird recalls. I think Bronco had a recall over like four Broncos that had some weird something that happened, and they issued a recall over it.
Yeah, I think they're up to 4 with those particular Broncos. Full on stop sale, do not drive. Um, but I mean, you think about all the stuff that we've already had, with all of their line. I mean, like you said, they're so quick to say that this is coming that they throw it out there, and then it's like, oh crap, now we got to go back and fix all these. I
Yeah.
mean, my Broncos on recall because the rear shock reservoirs like to pop off. They're not welded on right.
Yeah, that I think
So
part of that's a COVID issue.
correct,
I
but you know what
think
I'm saying. I mean, and that's Ford didn't produce those; those are Bilstein. So
yeah.
who's really Ford used them, so you can say that they didn't QC them, but
Well,
who's
let's be
really at
honest,
fault?
that's Bilstein China.
Right. So,
But
um, but it's always something, and Ford wanting to be an industry leader means they've got to push faster, get out quicker, and that means maybe not every bug's fully flushed out the way it should be.
right. But it popped out that they're having some issues. It says this is per Ford authority. Ford is recalling select. I love that select. What does
Yeah.
that mean? Like not mine, but my neighbors? I don't know what that means. Pickups over an issue of the instrument panel bezel. The problem in affected vehicles, the passenger airbag disabled indicator light may become dislodged from the instrument panel bezel, preventing the indicator from being visible to the driver or passenger. The hazards, vehicles, stupid ads. Get out of the way, ads. The where's that? The problem affected vehicles, the indicator light may become dislodged. The hazards of vehicle impacted by these issues fail to conform to federal motor vehicle safety standards 208 occupant crash protection. So yeah, I mean, I know people love to pick on any manufacturer when they have these little quirky recalls. I think it's a lot to do about nothing.
Yeah.
Um, but I wanted to bring it to the attention. Jess said if I didn't, that she was going to beat us up and steal our Broncos. But no, I do like to bring these things up when they do come out there. That yeah, it's a bummer that it's a 25 issue. So that's kind of a bummer that hey, these are just they've been building these things since what 2020. So you'd think they'd know how to solve these issues, but hey,
I mean, the Maverick, like everything else. I mean, if any quick search of the recall stuff, I mean, there's 10 recalls like right off the bat for these things. Everything from lighting to cameras, engine failures. Now this, light that falls out of your dash. Like, I mean, it's all over the place with what Mavericks, facing battles with. So, it's just like I said, it's a rush to get out, and some of it's a ghost in the machine. Like you write a program, if it's a software glitch, you write a program, and then not all the bugs show themselves until you've had 30,000 cycles of that program. So
was somebody who worked in manufacturing. I can see sometimes how these things happen. They're always tweaking things in the plant. They're to make it better. They're never doing this to make it worse, but I can see how these little things happen. Ford has always been, I will say this, they always jump up. We're going to take care of the problem. Don't worry about it. And I don't think it's much about nothing. There's a stop sale on certain ones. So it was produced April, I think a few in April that were produced. So I would worry more about tariffs on that little vehicle
right.
than this little thing.
But I mean, this will be news until the next one's on recall. So,
and of course, Ford being the dominant in trucks, they always get more publicity about the bad things then I think they're good things. And this one, it's a lot to do about nothing. So I didn't write anything about it because I just honestly didn't care. Like, it's not that big of a deal. If it was something where, like when Toyota had the 3-4 engines kind of detonating prematurely, I would probably cover that now more. But this,
Yeah.
I'm not worried about this. But things to worry about, Mark, is Toyota's got a new vehicle out, and once again, Jess said she would break our legs if we did not talk about this. This is Jess must wants to be a soccer mom or something. I don't know if your park corgis over there want to go to the park all the time, but she's into she was talking to us about the debut of the new RAV4. And
Look,
I know this sounds funny.
Everywhere.
RAV4s are one of their high volume vehicles. This isn't something that Toyota takes lightly. This is a vehicle that do you remember the Gen 1 RAV4s? They were real small, had a tire on the tailgate. They weren't ever like an off-road vehicle, but they were just fun, kind of probably at the time, probably a $15,000 to $18,000 vehicle, Gen 1s. But they've slowly grown and turned into a staple in the Toyota lineup, Mark.
Yeah, they were reliable. They had great space on the inside. You could pack a ton of shit, get all the kids, all the groceries. Like I said, the reliability of them. I mean, I still see them. The Gen 1 ones, like half the tire cover missing, like, or, no cover at all, and just, crazy spare slapped on the back end of them. So
have you seen them lifted?
running, which is, par for the course for a Toyota. But, like I said, they've got a strong, solid base following. So, not surprising that they continue to, not revolutionize, but improve and give us different versions.
Well, one thing Toyota knows is quality, and they know, hey, if we've got a home run on our hands, don't just go crazy changing it. Let's slowly, they're I forget what the comment is. It's not revolutionary, but they're more into just incremental changes. But this one came out, and well, this one sparked some pissed off people. I've been amazed at reading comments about this vehicle, how mad people are that they're going not EV. Their press for this is goofy. They talked about doing electric. Oh, they're all electric now. No, some of them are hybrids.
Right.
They didn't go full electric with this, and I think the way the press launch was of this thing is, I'm trying to find a clipping of this, that it will be 100% electrified. Here's the comment: America's best-selling compact SUV will be electrified. So it's going to be a HEV or plug-in hybrid. That's not that's just a supporting system. There's still a gasoline powered engine in this thing.
Right.
But people have been mad. The faithful, I guess the RAV4 crowd, not happy about the way this thing was released.
No, and I think it's not knowing what that, it's not knowing or understanding what the powertrain is going to be. Yeah. They just see electric and they don't understand that it's just a hybrid. Like that's all it is. Yeah. But the Toyota's touting, the electric capabilities of it. So everyone, all the RAV4 faithful and, those that, the steadfast customer and consumer of it, they don't want it as an EV, like so many other, as other companies have launched, Lightning and Mach-E and whatnot. And hey, don't mess with a Mustang, don't mess with an F-150. Like those are gas powered vehicles. Same thing here. So, and the people that are just straight out the door bashing on it just don't realize, the benefits of a hybrid. So you take a car that gets good gas mileage on its own, you make it a hybrid. Now it gets really great gas mileage. So,
well, you look at CAFE regulations, and they've getting more. I don't care if it was the Trump administration in 2016. They're always pushing to make manufacturers better, more efficient, less environmental impact. But this is a high volume vehicle. So if you look at CAFE regs, I don't know what the current standard is. I'm sure it's 35 plus miles per gallon according to the across the fleet.
Yeah.
So Toyota needs vehicles like that. This is a high volume vehicle, so it does it does offset the fun things they want to do. So whether it be the GR Corolla or the truck or whatever, these vehicles like this definitely offset that. And for them to get into the EV way is great. I know Toyota's not sold on EV, even though they did the Prius, which is funny to me. They did the most hybrid thing ever. They brought into market hybrids, really. They past that, they've never wanted to go fully electric. And I'm glad to see them jumping back more into the hybrid tech though, and not worry about we need a fully EV vehicle. I wouldn't be opposed to this.
Hybrid's the way to go. And like I said, you just pointed out, Prius, pioneered the hybrid. Like, and everybody crapped on Prius, but boy, they're still on the road. They're still out there banging around. Like just pointed out, they really put a more rugged stance on this. And it's funny as I, digest the photos more and more. It's got that stupid flat ass front that they're putting on all the Toyotas. I mean, it's like you smacked it in the nose with a shovel. They did it to the Tundra, not so much to the 4Runner. I think while it's still rugged and has that block look, but man, I tell you what, like this has got that slap shovel face, like the Tundra does, as they're all kind of, when you see one rolling up, that look, and you're like, that's a Toyota. Like, I don't know what it is, but it's a Toyota.
Well, there's definitely pedestrian safety things they have to go through now, which means more flat front ends across the board for all manufacturers. Toyota seems very proud of that, though. Of like, hey, look at our front's more flat than ever. It's like it's that girl you never wanted to date, they seem to be going the opposite direction most people want. Cool thing about this though is they do a GR version. This red one right here, that's a GR version, and when Toyota puts a GR badging on it and lets the Gazoo Racing tune something, that's fun. I love that. Hey, we're taking a common kind of a pedestrian vehicle and like, hey, we know there's a segment out there that sure they want the Supra or they want something a little more fun. But right here, first ever GR Sport developed in partnership with Toyota and Gazoo Racing. The GR tuned handling and aggressive exterior styling.
It's even got a little wing on the back.
Yeah, well, you gotta have a little wing. But no, I mean, I think this was fun. I like when vehicles get a little more aggressive looking, especially for something that's kind of boring. That's and I don't mean if you own one of the one of these RAV4s, there's a purpose for this vehicle. I've got a small family, whatever, I got to move things around. We all trust me. I don't want to own a minivan, but there was a time in my life where a minivan probably would have been more practical than the Xteras or whatever I owned at the time. This vehicle is super practical, number one. If you can get the fuel economy, 30s, 40s, 50s, dude, that's a home run.
Oh, easy.
I'm never going to own this vehicle. Don't get me wrong, but I'm well past the small family stage. But there is a market for this, and this is a home run vehicle for them. I like the fact once again they're giving us
how many kids are going to see that GR badging and try to go soup to nuts on this thing, and just completely crotch rocket it out.
Wait till the tuner scene gets a hold of the RAV4. Interior wise, looks great.
Yep.
Toyota really doesn't. Other than I've told you guys over and over, I'm done with this tablet sticking out of the dash. Practical. You need the buttons, you need the window buttons, you need the little shifter. Past that anymore, I don't know what more you need. No, like we've cracked the code on what you need in the interior of a vehicle. So, it does give you the kind of future vibes, but overall, man, I think it is pretty cool. Of course, here's the layout that they're going to do. So the LE is going to get a hybrid powertrain, front wheel drive, which is new for all wheel drive. XLE is going to get the front wheel or all wheel, and the Limited is going to get the all wheel drive, basically. Looks like we can get a rugged design. I guess people want to off-road, potentially off-road, we'll say these little things. And I want to bring this up real quick. So if I can, if this will pop up, There's actually, Mark, there's lift kits for these things. Not obviously this brand new version of it just
Right.
yet, but yeah, let me bring, they call it the adventure kit. Um, everybody's lifting 15 years ago. If somebody had the idea of I want to lift a RAV4, people would have made fun of you. They would have
Yeah.
laughed you off of the internet. Now, you want an inch and a half lift? Look, bare inch and a half lift. If you want the black powder coating, you get some fun there. Do some top hats. That's fun. I love.
Yeah.
I know people get. You were at the Subaru booth at Overland Expo.
Yeah.
You saw some things they're doing. I love the fact that these manufacturers are like, hey, we don't totally want, now Toyota's in the off-road segment, but like Subaru, we don't totally want to get into that segment, but we're willing to play. We're willing to bounce our ball over there.
Well,
So
I mean, you look at what everybody else is doing, and all the packages, all the this, that, and the other. Why not? I mean, why not offer it? Like, it's obviously something that the people, if it's offered, someone will buy it. So have
yes.
it.
And we live in an economy now where people, if they want it, and here's a rough country kit for your RAV4.
There you go.
Yeah, little
Look,
lifting
inch and a
thing.
half now, 2.5 inches, man. You floating down there.
Dude, you're impressing all the ladies with that 2.5 inches. But yeah, that's once again, there was a guy I used to follow from Japan who had one of these. I think it was Japan. Dude, it was badass. It was kind of that bluish kind of seafoam color. Oh my god, I love that he had lights on it. He kitted it out. And once again, you don't need the $80,000-$90,000 off-road SUV to go adventure. Now, I
No,
wouldn't take this to Windrock, but but
no, but
there's
I
places
would
you
run
can
that
go.
through, some of the small local trails. It would be a fun, camping type vehicle, handle some small, fire break trails, that sort of thing.
Yeah. No, I'm super pumped for that, man. Um, Mark, we just got back from Expo. We saw all kinds of things. You were just talking how you had bought um some parts for your vehicle, which respectable. I didn't spend the amount of money once again that Mark did. I just bought an antenna for Midland, which guys, go over to ATN Off-Road and watch that video, please. It doesn't have a lot of views. I don't get it. That was a good interview with the guy who walked you through why you need which radio you need and antenna wise, which once again, I just assumed all the antennas were just the same.
Right.
It was just a different style you wanted. No, dude did an excellent job of walking us through that. But Mark, I want to on the show. I kind of want to do a product, kind of like here's today's product that, and I didn't tell you about this beforehand.
Surprise.
You're right. If there wasn't a squirrel moment from Dave, would this be a real podcast from
No.
ATN? But I want to kind of just say, hey, there's a product out there that I like, and I think people should know about. And I'm trying to, if I had this pulled up, and of course, nothing ever works out without producer Kelly here. It never goes right. So let me bring this up before I run my mouth. So just bear with me, people. Bear with me.
He had it ready and lost it.
I did. I did have it ready to go. So all right, I found it. Let's see. So, and this is not going to be a surprise by any means, but I did Rockworks. So I took the first time I've ever taken a hard top off the Bronco. Took the Bronco, the top off the Bronco completely, and you can see this is why you want the diabolical slipstream right there. So I can still have the hard top off, and guess what? My product, anything in the tailgate of this thing is secure. But the Rockworks, the little thumb screws that where the hard
Yeah.
top goes. Now I should have done a better job of aligning these so they look like they're kind of cool. But I love the fact that you can mount, they have nets that you can mount across this. So if I want to, on top of the slipstream, I can mount more things to the Bronco. If I want to go on a weekend adventure without the hardtop, with the hardtop, doesn't matter. I can do that. And Rockworks area, here you can see them there. Super quality. I told I can't think of his name now. I told the gentleman who owns the company, I was like, I knew from the pictures your product's
Yeah.
super high quality. And I mean, this is kind of it. Are they worth? I think they were under $100. To me,
Yeah.
they are. To you, they might not be. But these work on your Jeep or Bronco, and it's
Well,
more places to attach things in a place that has very limited space to do anything like that
yeah.
for cargo. I'm super pumped about.
Yeah, they're nice. And like I said, they're quality. I've messed with them. Um, and the having the ability to one, you don't need tools. It's literally that's the whole point for them is their over exaggerated thumb screw. Uh, but they're strong enough and over engineered and overbuilt to be tie down locations. Like you can really, and they make some specialty straps and stuff that are
Yeah.
designed to hook to this and give you other strap in points on that strap. Uh, but yeah, like they're a great product. And of course, Dave loves his fun colors. So, he got a big splash of color on the back of the
Code
Bronco.
orange. I've
Yeah.
got a vehicle that uses code orange, and I had to have the code orange. You could do black on this. It would still stand out a little bit. Would have been fine. Red would have been great. And I talked about in the video, which is weird. If you guys go to ATN Off Road, I'm amazed that there's almost 3,000 views on a video for about screws. Like I could do details on tires or whatever. Well, of course, that's a newer channel, but I'm amazed at what people watch.
Yeah.
Of course, this product works for Wrangler or Bronco, so there's a larger audience for it. But I'm amazed that a damn screw has gotten me a lot of views over there. And I could talk about something important and it wouldn't get 1,000 views. So thank you for watching, by the way. Mark, anything I know you weren't prepared for this. Anything stands out of your way that product this week that we can talk
No,
about?
if you go back and watch the interview Dave did with them and kind of see, it doesn't really matter if that company is making something as simple as a tie down screw or a 7-piece multi-tool with shovel and axe and hammer and seat and step and everything else that shovel does. There's quality in it across the board, and Dave and I are not ones to pull punches when we find a product that we like or that isn't quite up to what we think it should be. And you can see that quality across all of their products. So if you haven't done it, check them out. Check out Dave's video on it. I like them personally. I don't really feel a need for them, especially with what I have coming for my Bronco. So I'm probably not going to get those screws. But if you've got a
come
hard
on, Mark. That product you have coming needs these.
I don't think so, but we'll see. I mean, I don't know. I might wind up with them. We'll see once I get that all stuff built out. But
one thing I did like about them when I installed them last week, I installed it and did a video on them. I like that you had more surface to hold down the hardtop. Not that I think obviously Ford knows what they're doing with that, or Jeep knows what they're doing with the bolt sizes. At minimum, I just kind of like that. Oh, I feel more comfortable with what's holding the top on there. So it was kind of, to me, it was kind of interesting. Once again, here's some of the buckles they use for where you can strap things down to it. A lot of fun colors. And like I said in my video, I've got a black vehicle. It's the most boring color ever for ideally for a Bronco
should have got the
Raptor.
green one.
But yeah, like, yes, looking back now, hell, it would have had the top I wanted and everything. But looking back now, black's not the color for me of for especially a YouTube channel. But they do add some pop look there, like that lime green.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have went with my vehicle, but damn it, I would have loved to have that color. Super good packaging. Once again, you can see it there. So yeah, Rockworks is going to be my spotlight company. And once again, I'm not getting a penny from these guys to talk about them. So if you're looking for something, your Jeep Wrangler or Ford Bronco, check them out. The shovel. Oh, let me I want to bring that and just show it real quick because we did talk about it, Mark.
Yeah.
And I did a video on that as well, though it's not doing as well as the screw. something more practical to use. Not as thought out, but let's see the multi-tool. There it is. So let me bring this up. Yes, they have a tool. It's a multi-tool that is I don't know why I need this. Honest to God, man, I don't know why I need this, but I want this so bad. It's a stool, it's a shovel, it's an axe, it's a hoe. You know, who don't love a hoe every once in a while? Hammer, you know, you got the long shovel. Like it's a multi it's the goofiest thing ever, but
Agreed.
but the quality is what makes me want it, I think. I'm like, this isn't some just cheap knockoff military shovel, which I do own many of those. Somehow I get them, seems like free in cereal boxes. You get some cheap shovel anymore. But no, this thing is super quality. So yeah, go check those guys out, rockworks.com. And if you email them asking about something, tell them All Terrain Nation or ATN Off-Road sent you. And there's no discount codes. There's no nothing like that. But we just like their product. And I once again, I just like talking about good companies that I feel like are going to treat you right. So finally, Mark, I want to encourage people to go to allterrainnation.com. There's some articles there. Look, there's your Bronco, Mark.
Oh,
Center. There's Jess's Bronco. There's my Bronco. All kinds of articles we're writing on there. They're about once a week. You get something new over there. The more you pay attention to this website, the more I will start writing for it. Some views from Overland Expo. There's that shovel. I did a talk about the shovel. 4Runner talk, Broncos, guest writer over here. I'm trying to we're trying to build an empire here, guys. And it's an empire that you would want to be a part of. It's not somebody that you feel like is going to kind of hoe out. What's the off-road map company that's so popular? Onyx. Like I see every channel with 100,000 subscribers right now is pimping out Onyx. I want you to feel like if we're talking about something, Mark, me, Jess, Kelly, whoever, Allie, that it's because we're passionate about that product. You know, there'll be times where you'll see endorsed product reviews. Set Power. I have a new Set Power fridge coming. Mark's going to be jealous of this thing. But there's companies that will send us stuff to review. Hell, I've got Cobra, not G.I. Joe Cobra, but Cobra Radios sent us over their latest walkie-talkies, GRMS walkie-talkies for review. That's fun. I've got some new stuff with power banks because the jump starter packs. Every once in a while, we all have a battery go dead. So we're going to see more stuff like that. I'm going to write about it. Hopefully Mark will write about it. Andy says, to be fair, I love Onyx. I'm not shitting on Onyx, by the way. I'm just saying I'm not going to be a shill for just everybody who wants to throw monthly ad rates at us. But no, hey Onyx, I'm not willing to. I'll check out your product. I actually use their product. Who am I kidding?
Yeah, I've got it loaded too.
Loaded, cocked, ready to go. But if you would like to pay us, we're not against it. We're just going to be fair in how we review your products. So there you go, Mark. Any final words, buddy? We've done almost 2 hours exactly.
No. A lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff in the past couple of weeks. A lot of stuff to come. Believe it or not, we're halfway through this flipping year.
Oh, don't say that. Don't say that, dude.
Oh, man, it's freaking crazy. We're hitting, day 1 of month 6. Like, where has the year gone so far?
Right.
But stuff coming up this fall. You alluded to Woodward. We'll hit up that in August. Mm-hmm. So we won't be at Stampede this year.
Next month is Iron Gap. I'm excited to get you guys to the Iron Gap.
Yeah, so we'll do a big off-road trip through Iron Gap. Jess and I are going to go down to Christmas in July in the beach down in St. Augustine, Florida. So we'll see some people, get some reviews, some stuff done down there. I feel like we had something later in the year, but I don't know if Woodward's kind of the last big planned thing that we've got.
We've got the OC's thing. I don't know.
Yeah, the feud.
The feud.
Yeah,
I want to hit. Honestly, I want to hit Windrock at some point this year too. I haven't been to Windrock since me and you last went to Windrock, which is over a year ago.
Yeah.
So clearly, the Iron Gap is how I break in new Broncos, and then go to Windrock. So maybe this fall we'll hit Windrock as well. But in the comments below, guys, let us know what you guide the pirate ship. Like you really do. So I watch how you view things, and I tend to talk about where you want us to go. It means more than anything right now. If you've made it this far, for one, let us know in the comment below. I watched the whole show, or I listened to the whole show. But you know, I'm trying to shape this for what everybody wants. We've got ATN Off-Road, who Mark and Jess are doing a lot with over there. So we're trying to do more product reviews over there for off-road stuffs. ATN here, we're all about the reviews, and we'll figure this monster out, Mark.
One car, one review, one product at a time, man. We'll get there.
Yeah. Mark, if I said right now, what is the one vehicle that if I said I could get you to do a review on, what would it be?
Anything
right now, what would it be? Look at his brain churning.
Really seriously. Honestly, probably a loaded out Tacoma.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you're coming with me to Texas then.
The Rangers kind of put me in the small truck market. By no means is the Ranger or the Tacoma a small truck anymore. I mean, they used to be waist high on me. Now they're the size of an F-150. So,
right.
But yeah, it's been probably 20 plus years since I've driven a Tacoma.
Yeah.
Lot, back in the day when there was no, the seat basically sat on the floor on a couple of rails.
Your knees were up at the dash,
and your legs kind of shot straight out ahead of you into the pedals. But yeah, I think if I could drive anything right now, I'd want a off-road Tacoma to run around in.
I want to drive the GTD so bad. Yeah, the new Mustang GTD. I don't think it's really a supercar per se. I don't know what you label that thing as. I would love to, because I miss that Mustang so bad, just the normal GT I had. So the idea of driving that, or basically the GT, I love that last GT they built for 8 years plus, whatever. That's probably, and I hate to say I'm not a Ford guy per se, but damn it, man, they're doing so much fun things that I just want to drive right now.
You like those sports cars. I don't like dropping into them. Like,
I know you drove the Mustang, and
I drove the Mustang, man. I had to roll out of that. My fat ass had to roll out of that thing. Like, if you give me the option of driving, a supercar or a monster truck, I'm going to monster truck it every day of the week. I'm a big dude that drives big vehicles. So, and as fun as, I mean, don't get me wrong, like if someone tells me that I'm going to go whip a McLaren around the track, like I'm going to get into it one way or another. But I mean,
you get in. We're not saying you're getting out of it.
Yeah. Even getting in is going to be tricky. Some of those things, stepping over the threshold and trying to thread yourself into is not an easy task. But
hey, Jess, in the comments there, she's like a Lincoln Nautilus. Remind me, if I can get you guys to go with me to the Texas event that I'm going to go to this fall, I bet I can get you in one of those. So just remind me.
She's drooling already.
Well, so whether it be 2-wheel drive,
4-wheel drive,
it doesn't matter what you drive anymore, Mark.
No, it doesn't matter what you drive.
As long as you're having fun, enjoying what we do here at the channel, we appreciate it. So till next time, guys, we'll see you next week. We're back for the
We're back, baby.
Future. And next week we'll definitely get the girls on. We're going to talk a little bit of the dunes there in Michigan, and we'll go from there. So see ya. Bye. You can't stay here, but the bar's closed. Peace, everybody. Love you.